In the last session, we have seen how to model this truss. Then also we have seen how to assign the point loads over the joints of the truss. Then also we have seen how to assign the releases of the members and what actually the function of assigning the releases to the members. That all things we have covered in the last session, where we also have seen how to check the results. That means how to see the actual process in the members of the truss. That all things we have covered in the last session. These all things we have covered in the last session. Now here we have to move towards the next example. We have to see this truss. We have to model this truss and we have to verify the manual result with the ETABS result. You all are ready to do this? Right now we have to model this truss and we have to assign the loads as similar to that of the previous practice, and after that we have to see the results. For the newcomers, see the first section when over, then we will start the live project. Once you get the familiar with the software and you understand all the things, then we will start the live project. A real life example we are taking and we are going to completely design from start to end at the till the releasing the drawing for the site execution. Got it? So that thing we will discuss in this, and after that we will take high-rise structure in the third section. So these things we are going to learn in this training course. Got it? So just come back. Here we have to model this truss, simple truss. So can you tell me how many grids in X direction we have to form? Exactly. This will be one, this will be the second, this will be the third, and this will be the fourth. So four grid will be in X direction. And how many levels in the Z direction? See, ETABS will by default give these as base. Is that okay? And these will be the first. So how many levels we need to put there? Only one. Good, very good. So just come back to the software and go to the file, new model, go with the all basic settings, say okay. I have discussed all these points, what does mean by the first option, what does mean by the second option, what does mean by the third option, and these basic settings in the first session. So those who don't have seen the first session, kindly watch it on our Strucsoft Center YouTube channel that is uploaded there. You can see the first session. So all the things we have discussed there in a very detailed way. So I am not going to explain all the things again and again. So just say okay. Now here, how many number of grids in X direction? 4. And how many number of grids in Y direction? Exactly 1. Spacing of grids in X direction. So just come back to the see, it is 3 4 3. It is uniform grid spacing or non-uniform grid spacing? Non-uniform, exactly. So typical spacing is how much? 3. Good. So just come back, and in X direction typical spacing is 3 meter. In Y direction it will be 1. Is that okay? Now go to the custom grid spacing, then edit grid data. So here which option would you like to take? Either display grid data as ordinate or display grid data as spacing? Which one? Second, spacing. Good. So here it should be 3, then it should be 4, and then 3, as you can see here. The question, this first 3, then 4, then 3. Okay, so these are all done. Now here, so okay, so okay. Now how many number of stories you actually want here? 1 story. Yeah, the height of story should be what? Good, 3 meter. Bottom story height we don't need to put it, let it be as it is. Now just go to custom grid data. Just here, if you want to make any change over the height, so go to edit story data. So here 2 stories are only there. So base is by default at 0 level, and above to base there is a story 1 level. So let it be as 3 meter. So total height is 3 meter. Okay, so it's done. Now go with the grids only. So okay, so this kind of two view windows actually appearing there, window 1 and window 2. So window 1 is for the plan view and window 2 is for the 3D view. But here we don't need to look at the 3D view. So just close it by clicking here. It's done. Now here this is the plan view. As you can see, this is what the plan view, and I want to see the elevation along the grid first. So just go to elevation along the grid first, say apply. So this is the elevation view. Now we have to model this truss. How you can model this truss? Got it? So first I just want to assign the support here. Okay, let it be as it is. First we have to model. So go to beam. Here at the left strip you will get the draw beam column brace option. Just click here and click on this point. From this point to first click on the required point and freely move to the next point and click here where you want to end your beam or your member, your straight member. But remember that unless and until you are getting the red mark, don't click at that point, otherwise there will be error in your model. So just click here. Now it's done. Now come to this point. Now it's done. Being command active, just come to the required point, just click here. So this is all done. Now just come back here, click. Now click at this point. Now move to the base point, origin point, just click here. So this is all done. All these members we have drawn there. Now we have to model this straight member. This is also done. Now from this point to this point, this is also done. Is that okay? Now the next thing is what? One more member we have to model there. This inclined member. So just click here and just come back to required point and just click here. So this is done. As you can see, all the members we have modeled separately. All the members are separate. As you can see here. How many number of members are there? See, that you can find from left bottom end here. 9 frames are there. How many frames are there? 9 frames are actually there. Let's close it. See. So it's done. Now the next thing what we have to do, we have to assign the support at this joint. But before that, as in the last session we already have discussed that whenever you model anything at the base level, it has will by default give the support to that joint. It has will by default give the support to that joint, and that support will be hinge support. So actually if you see our example, so here there is no any support, here no any support, here no any support, only the support is here. This is a hinge support, this is a roller support. These two things are there. So just come back to the software. So actually I don't want this any. See, it is actually the error is there. See how many joints it is giving? 3 joints. But how much it should be? It should be 1 joint, because see all the members are going to connect at a one point. So if I am trying to select this joint, so how much joint should be in selection? Only 1 joint. Only 1 joint. That's why there is a modeling error. Here it is a modeling error. While selecting the joint, I did the mistake there. That's why how many number of joints are there? 3. Okay. Here how much? Okay, it's against it is C. It is 4. 4 joint. Okay, so is again mistake is there. So let's check all the joints. Here 2. Here 6. Here okay. Here what? Here 3. So there is a mistake in selecting the joint. So we have to align all the joints. How to rectify this? So first select the joint and see the see what in x direction it is at a distance of what, that you can find here. When I take the cursor here, how much it is? X 3 and y 0. So just go to, first select this, just go to align. How you can align? Go to edit and go to align joints. These will take in the command section, okay, but just remember, so x will be 3 and see x will be 3, say apply. Now see how many joints are there? One joint, so it's corrected. Now just come back to this joint. How many joints are there? Hello, 4 joints. How much it should be? 1. So see the ordinate, x should be what? 7. So put 7, say apply. Now check how much it is. It's corrected. Now see this is 2, it should be 1. X ordinate 10, just put 10, apply. So this is done. Now it's 3, it should be what? It should be 7. X, it should be 7. Now check this, it is 4, it should be 3, so let it be 3 alignment, apply. Now check this joint, it is 2, it should be 0, apply. It's done. See, this is 1, this is 2, okay, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. It's correct. Hello, yeah. Now next, what we need to do, we have to remove this support. So select this joint, then select this joint, then go to assign joint, restrain. So 4 types of joints are there, joints assignments are there, fixed support, hinge support, roller support and none. So we actually don't want any support at these points. So see, click on none, say apply, so that these joints and restraints will be removed. Now just see the question at the left end at A, here it is a hinge support. So come back to the software, select this joint and I just want to assign hinge support. This is hinge support, say apply. So this is assigned hinge support. Now here it is roller support, as you can see, here it is roller support. Come back, here it is actually roller support, apply. So this roller support is there, this is done. You all understood till this point? Now see, we have to assign the loads, here 20 kilonewton, here 60 kilonewton. Just come back to the software and here I just want to assign how much? 20 kilonewton. So go to assign, go to joint loads, go to force, the live load pattern, how much it should be? Negative 20, good. So in the live load pattern, apply minus 20. Now select this joint, it should be minus 60, apply. So this is done, minus 60 minus 20. Now in x direction, how much it is? 30. So here at this joint we have to assign, put 0, in x direction it should be what? 30, say apply. It's done. Hello. So 30 kilonewton we have assigned at this joint. Now next, what we have to do? All thing is done. Okay. Can you tell me what the thing is actually remaining? Joint release. Who's telling this? Amir. Good. Very good. See, already each members are separate members. See, this is a separate member, this is a separate member, this is separate member, this is also separate member, this is also separate member. So why it is needed to divide? These all members are separate member. Yeah. So we don't need to divide. We have already all the members have modeled separately. So what actually we need to do? We need to release the movement at the support, at the connections, okay, at the intersection point. Got it? So just come back to the tabs and select all the members. As I selected all the members, so 9 frames are there. Then go to assign, go to frame, then go to releases and partial fixity. Just click on this and just check this box, check this box, check this box, check this box. So in minor axis and major axis, in both the direction we have to release. What does mean by the minor axis, what does mean by the major axis, that we will discuss in detail after some time. Say apply. So all the joints has assigned the releases. As we earlier discussed that in the last session, that whenever you model the beam like this, suppose there is a beam like this, and if you end this beam at this joint and then are starting a new beam from this joint, so it has will by default consider this intersection point as a rigid support, as a rigid point. Rigid means what? That carry the moment. That actually the example of this. This is the one member, this is another member, but see, it has will by default consider this joint as a fixed joint. So when it is fixed joint, if it is fixed joint, then it will carry the moment, and we actually need to release the moment, because our assumption for the analysis of truss is what? All the members are pin connected. Pin connection means what? The connection will not able to carry any movement. So we need to say to the ETABS software that this connection is actually pin connection, and to do this we need to release the movement. You all got it? So it's all done. Just go to check your model whether there is any error or not. So once your definition is completed, your modeling is completed, your support assignment is completed, your assignment of loading is completed, the next step is what? You have to see whether your model is correct or wrong. Your model is without error or wrong, whether error or not. There should not be any kind of error. So go to analyze and check model, select all, say OK. See, model has been checked, no warning messages were generated. So there is no any kind of error in your model. Your model is free from error. So this is a good thing. Now next thing what you need to do, we have to analyze your structure. So just click on run analysis. See, you can also press F5. So this is a shortcut bar, shortcut ribbon is there. We are also calling it as quick access bar. We are calling it as what? Quick access bar. So how to keep this quick access bar in this arrangement, that we will discuss in the command section. Okay, so here we have to analyze the model. So you can just click here. So if you don't have this strip, then go to analyze, and in analyze option, there you will find run analysis. Just click on this. So this will ask you to save the model. So T2 truss 2, save, start the analysis, and it takes some time and give the deformed shape of structure. So this is the deformed shape of structure. Under the loading, how structure will behave, if you want to see, you can start animation. Just click here. Once you click here, the your structure will get started in movement condition, and there will be animation in your structure. Here you are getting some warning. Okay, that we will discuss later. Okay, yeah. So this kind of result you will get. What kind of error you are getting? Okay, that we will see later. Okay, so see, this kind of result you will get, but here we actually want to see the results in the members of the trust as axial forces. So to see that, first we have to see the member reactions. So how you can see the reactions at the support? Then go to display, then force stress diagram, then support reactions. Then under the live load pattern, say apply. See, the result is how much? Here it is 41 kilonewton and here is the 39 kilonewton. So in the example is actually not given here what is the reaction result. So let it be as it is. Here we try to verify these axial forces. So just come back and how to see the axial forces in the members of the truss. Then to do this, go to display, go to force stress diagrams and frame Pierce spindle forces. Just click here. Under the live load pattern, I just want to see the result. Then components, what you want to see? Axial force, torsion, shear along 2 2, movement along 2 2, shear along 3 3, movement along 3 3. What actually you want to see? So here I just want to see the axial force. Say apply. Now in the last session we already have seen that the red sign means what? Hello? Positive or negative force? Red color means what? It is negative force. It means that it is compressive force. Negative force means what? Compressive force. And what does mean by the yellow color? Positive and tension. So yellow intimation is what? It is positive force and it is tensile force, and red color is your compressive force and negative force. Got it? So this is all done. Now here I just want to see the result. How much it is? Minus 11. So first let's see. This member is AB. In AB, how much it is? 11. Whether it is compression or tension, so it is correct or wrong? Right. Okay. Then see in this is minus 39 kilonewton in BC. So in BC minus 39. So here BC how much it is? 39. So it is also correct. Then CD again 39. Check it with this. CD again 39 minus. Now AF, where AF? So this AF, here AF. As you can see, this member is actually AF. So how much force is there in AF? How much? 58.58, and it is tensile force. Okay, so just come back to this software. How much it is? 57.9828. So this is approximately 58. Is it acceptable or not? So it is almost 58. So this is also correct. So we can also check for the vertical members also. See here, this vertical member. Let's try to see the result in this member. CE. Let's check it. CE. How much it is? 60. Compressive means negative force. CE. Whether it is correct or wrong? Right. Good. So in this way you can verify your manual calculation with the attached software. So through this practice you understood how to see the axial forces, how to see the reaction, how to assign the releases. Got it? Now we move to check the next truss. Do you want to practice it now? Would you like to solve here? Yeah. So can you tell me how many number of grids in x direction? Fast. 5 grids. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 number of grids will be there in x direction. And in y direction, sorry, in z direction, this will be the base, this will be the base, this will be the your first, this will be what? Second, and this will be what? Third. So 3 levels you actually want. Okay, now see how you can find this height. See, this is 8 and this is how much? Total 15 and this is 8. So through this you can find this angle. So this will be height 8 divided by your base 15 will be equal to tan theta, then that will become tan inverse of 8 by 15. What is the answer? Can you tell me? What is the answer? Can you tell me? So it is what? 28.07. So can you find out the height? So this is what? The angle is there. So height divided by your base is equal to tan angle is 28.707. Okay, so base is your 5 actually. We want this actually triangle we have to deal, this triangle. So here this height we have to find, this is 5 meter, and angle we know actually 28.07. so height will equal to your base is 5 multiplied by tan 28.07, tan 28.07. What is the answer? 2.67. Okay, 2.67 first. Now second, height will be equal to, see, same thing will be there. This height we have to find, and this the length is actually 10. So 10 times tan 28.07. How much it is? 5.34. Now next, this height. So this height actually we know this what? H is 8. Total height is 8. Got it? So can you tell me from the base the first height will be what? That will be 8 minus 5.34. How much it will be? Hello? 3 point? I think it should be 3.34. Yeah, it should be 6 digit will be there. See, 8 minus 5.34. This is how 2.66. How it is? It's wrong. This is 2.66. Check this whether it is right or wrong. So 10 times tan inverse of your, sorry, yeah, tan 28.07. Yeah, it is correct. 0.33 is this. So let it be as it is. So this is 2.66. Now what is the difference between this? Can you tell me? It will be the minus the difference between these two values. So it will become what? 5.33 minus 2.67. How much it is? 2.662. The difference between these two. So that, see, the first level your base, your above the first level, that the distance will be what? It will be 2.66. Then above to that there will be again 2. The next level there will be what? First level will be 2.66 from the base. Okay, just try to understand again it. This is the total height. Okay, so from the total height, this distance is how much? Can you tell me? Hello? This is what? This is 10 times. So 1028.07. So this is 5.33. 5.33 minus 8. So this height is actually what? This is what? This height is 2.66. Kindly note it down. Hello. Hello. Kindly note it down. First level height is 2.667. Have you noted? Noted it? Yeah, first. Now second level. This height see 10 times 10 28.07. So this height is actually 5.33. This height is actually 5.33 total height. 3333 is there. Now we need to find this height. So this is what? 5 times 10 28.07. How much it is? 2.666. This is what? This height is 2.666. Now we have to know this distance. So that will be obviously 5.33 minus 2.66. So it will be what? Minus 5.333. So how much it is? 2.6667. So see, all the distances are what? 2.667, and this will also 2.667. So these of equal distance, 2.6667, 2.667, 2.667. So all the levels are equal height. Got it? So just come back to the ETABS software. Go to File, New Model. Say no. Here go with the basic settings. Say OK. Can you tell me how many number of grids in X direction? Hello. Can you tell me how many number of grids in X direction? 1, 2, 3, 4 and hello. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 number of grids will be in X direction. Just put 6. Now in Y it will be 1. And spacing of grid in X direction. Is there any typical spacing? It is of uniform grid or non-uniform grid? Typical 5 meter. Good. So it is typically 5 meter. Put 5. And in Y direction it should be 1. And go to custom grid and go with the second option. Let it be all the 5 except see at D it should be 6. 5, 5, 5, then last 6. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 5 is there. Then okay, let's check. 1 grid, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 grids should be there. How many we have taken here? Okay, so you can delete 1 grid. So just click on this and say delete. Is that okay? Hello. 5, 5, 5 and the last will be 6. So this is done. Now choose you can let it be as it is. Say okay. Now if you're talking about the levels, so how many levels you have to put there? Hello. Yes, good. This is the base. This is base. So don't count this. It has will take by default. This will be the first. This will be the second. This will be the third. So just come back to the tabs and put 3. And what is the typical story height? 2.667. Bottom story height will be what? Again 2.667. Go to custom grid data, edit. So can you see what is the total height? Hello. 8 meter. Is it correct or wrong? Correct. Say okay. Go to grid. Say okay. So two view will be open. One is 3D view and one is the plan view. So we don't need to look at the 3D view now. Just close it. Go to elevation and go to along grid first. Say apply. So this is done. Just close it. Is that okay? Hello? Hello? Yeah. So we have to model this first. So this is the grid first. So here we have to start our modeling. So take the beam, just close it from this point to this point, from this point to this point, from this point to this point. Top chord line will be there from this point. So this is all done. Now from this point to this point, this is the first. See, whenever you click on the base, it has will by default give you support condition. Okay, then come back to this point. Just click here. So this is done. So this geometry we have completed now. Now here it should be vertical member at this joint, vertical member at this joint, one vertical member from this point to this point. So this is also done. Now the cross member will be there from this joint to this joint, from this joint to this joint. Now it's as you can see, all the members we have modeled there. Okay, so see, this is the continuous member. So it is needed to break this or not. See, this is a continuous member. As we have seen that in the truss, each members are the separate members. So this is a continuous member. So we need to break this continuous member at their connections, at the joint point. So just first, how you can edit this frame, how you can divide this frame. First select this frame and then select the joint where you want to break it. So frame, then this joint, then frame, then this joint. This entire frame I just want to break at these two joints. Then go to edit. In edit section you will be able to find edit frames, then divide frames. Here many options are there. We have to go with the second option. The first option is what? If you want to divide, suppose there is a beam and if you want to break it, this beam or this member into two parts, so you have to put 2. If you want to break it in 5 parts, so you want to put 5. But here we have to go with the second option, break at the intersection with the selected frame and joint. So we have selected the frame, we have directed the joint where you want to break the beam. So these two things we have done. So we have to go with the second option. Just check this box, check this option and say apply. Now you can see these all members are separated. This is a separate member, this is separate member, this separate member. So this becoming 3 different members. These separate 3 separate members. Is that clear to all of you? Hello. Okay. Now see, in the structure, in the model, in the question, see, there is a roller support at this joint. Is it visible? This is what? This is the roller support and this is what? This is the hinge support. Okay. So just come back to the tabs. Here I just want to take hinge support. So go to assign, go to join, go to restrain and here put the hinge support, second option and say apply. So hinge support has been assigned to that joint. Here I just want to take a roller support, say apply. So roller support has been assigned to this joint. So this is all done. Now just come back and how much force we have to assign at this joint D and E, at D 24 and at E 40. But remember that this is not in kilonewton. Hello, this is in what? Newton. So remember this. Okay, then go to, first select this joint, then go to assign, then go to join, then go to restrain, go to assign, then go to joint load, then forces. See, the force we have to assign it what? Kilonewton or Newton? Hello. So how much it will become in kilonewton? 24 in kilonewton, how much it will become? It will be 0.024. Am I right? It will become in kilonewton, and this 40 will become 0.04 kilonewton. So this much force we have to assign there. So just come back to the tabs and put minus 0.024, apply. So as you can see here, 0.024 has been assigned. Then select this joint, 0.04 will be there. Say apply, vertical downward direction. Now it's all done. Now go just analyze, check your model whether there is any error or not. Go to analyze, check model, select all, say OK. Is there any warning? Hello? No. So your model is correct. Now one thing is missing. What actually we have to do before assignment, before analysis? Moment release, good. So select all members, these members, these two members. See, just cut the frame so that the member will be selected. So to this you have to drag from right to left and cut the member. So that member will get selected. Cut the member. So see, all the members, almost all the members have got is actually in selection. Then go to assign, go to frame, then releases. In both the ends, apply. So all the frames has been assigned with the releases. So this done now. Now just analyze this structure. Click on analysis. This will ask you to save the model. Put T3. So OK. Now analysis is done. You can see the animated shape. See, now we have to see the reaction result in this member. Okay, so how you can check the results in the members? Then go to display, force stress diagram, frame, pier and spindles. Just click on this, and in the live load pattern I just want to see the actual forces. Then say apply. Now see the result in the member. So see the result, the force in the member AB, BC, where it is AB, BC, CD and DE. All the top chord members having the force how much? Hello? How much? 30 kilonewton. Sorry, 30 Newton. Let's come back to the tabs. See, this is how much? 0.03. It means what it is? 30 Newton. Hello? This is what actually? This is 0.03 in Newton. If you calculate this in kilonewton, then it will become 30 kilonewton. Okay, this will become what? Sorry, this is in kilonewton. This is in kilonewton, and if you want to see in Newton, it will become what? 30 Newton. and that actually the result is given in your example result 30 Newton. Now in AF, FG and GH, AF, FG and GH, how much it is? 34 Newton. So it as will give you result 0.034. Okay, just come back to the tabs, see how much it is. Hello, hello. So it is right or wrong? Hello, right? Okay, now see this member, last member, this member HE, or we can say EH. EH is 15 Newton, compression means negative, so it as will show this by the red color, and this what? 50 Newton. 0.05 minus in kilonewton. If you see in Newton, it will become 50 Newton. Is that okay? So in this way you can see, here it is 0, here it is 0, here it is 0. So all internal. See FC, GD and DH. FC and see FC, in FC there is a 0, then GD there is also 0 in GD. Now in vertical member CG is also 0. Okay, now BF, this BF is also 0. So all these members, internal members, are having the 0 forces. You are understood all this practice? Just come back to the next practice. So this is all about the truss. So many things along with this practice we have to understand. We understood that how to see the forces, how to assign the forces, how to assign the releases. So that all actually the reason of taking these exercise, so that you should able to assign the load, to prepare the grid lines. So okay, so we are actually discussing only the basics. Okay, this is not actually the content, actual content. Got it? Now move down. Now we have to practice over the beam. Okay, so before getting into this exercise, just try to some important things. See, in the previous session we have seen how many types of axis system. Can anyone recall? What are those? Good. Global axis, okay, local axis, and third one is what? Natural axis. So for our concern, the first and third is not much important. Here we have to discuss with the local axis. So each member will have its own axis. Now let's talk about the beam only. Suppose this is a beam element. Can you tell me whether beam is compressive member or flexural member? Beam is compressive member, flexural member. So beam is actually flexural member. Okay, it carry the transverse loads. What it means that it carry the, see, it is not much visible here. Now it's visible. Yeah, so beam is your flexural member. Okay, these are subjected to transverse load. The beam is subjected to transverse load only. So what ETABS will show this member by its own axis, and that axis, say, will be like this. This axis, and the one axis is running along the length of your beam. This is actually the length of your beam, and the one axis will running along your length of beam, that is represented by the ETABS software by the red color, and by the labeling as 1 1. Very important we are discussing here. Just try to understand. If you are not getting any point, just ask me. This is an open discussion, you can ask anytime, because very important concept we are going to discuss. So see, this is a beam member is there, and this is the length, this is actually the depth, okay, and this is actually the width. As you can see, this is the width. You all are with me? So this is depth, this is width, and this is length. So the global axis by the entire software is represented by the x. It means that x, y, and vertical z. Remember that global axis is represented by the Cartesian numbers, Cartesian digits x, y, and z. Now the local axis, all the axis running along the longitudinal direction. The direction along the length of the member is actually called as longitudinal direction. So along the length, this is actually, in structural engineering term, we are calling it as longitudinal direction. This is called as what? This is longitudinal direction. So the axis running along the longitudinal direction, or we can say along the length of the member, it is represented by the 1 1. Got it? Hello? Hello? Yeah, good. So this is the first axis. We are talking about the local axis, remember. Now the second, the axis about the depth of the member, especially talking about the beam. So about along the depth of the member is represented by the entire software as 2 2. Hello? And the third axis, which is out of plane, this is what? This is out of plane, and it will represent these axis by 3 3. You are understood? Yeah. Now if you want to see the axial force in the member, suppose this is a beam member, if you want to see the axial force in the member, so which axis would you prefer to see the axial force? Either 1 1, 2 2, or 3 3. Fast. Exactly, good. Anyone else? Rajnesh, what's your opinion? Very good. So if you want to see the axial force, you need to look at 1 1 along the 1 1 axis. Then just forget all this. Now come to the next point. In your bachelor's, you might be seeing that see, there are two main things you have to see while designing a beam. Two things are more important. Two parameters you keep in mind. You need to keep safe for the design of beam. The first one is shear force, and second one is the moment. Am I right? Yeah. So two things you have to keep in mind. First is shear force, and second one is the moment. Okay, come back. So if there is a beam like this, and the beam is supported like this, and beam is assigned by some load at its center, and this is actually the shear, due to this loading there will be the shear force at the support. The shear force diagram will be like this, and due to this shear force there will be development of the crack. Am I right? Hello? So in the beam member, there will be the development of crack, and that crack will be like this. That crack will be like this. And that propagation of the cracks will be along the depth of beam. Yeah, so this development of the cracks will be along the depth of the beam. So that the reason of discussing this point is that your shear force will be developed along your depth of beam, along your depth of this section, and that shear force will try to create cracks in your section. along its depth. So whenever you want to see the shear forces in the member, so which axis you need to look? Exactly. So to see the shear force, going good 2 2. To see the shear force, you need to look at 2 2. No doubt there will be shear force along the 3 3 also, but that will be minor force. Major dominant axis will be 2 2. Dominant direction will be along the depth. Dominant axis will be along the depth. That's why remember the very important point I am going to say you that whenever you want to see the shear force in the beam, you need to look at the in the axis 2 2. 2 2 is the major axis for the shear. Major shear axis. Major shear axis. You all got it? Hello? Yeah. So this is the first. Now the movement will be out of plane, so that movement will be along the third direction. The movement will be along the third direction. So whenever you want to see the movement in the beam, at that time you need to look at 3 3 axis. So the axis, major movement axis is what? Major axis for movement what? Good. So you all understood? So whenever you have to see the shear force, you need to look at 2 2. Whenever you want to see the maximum movement in the member, you need to look at the 3 3 axis. Okay. So you can write this statement that major axis. If you are taking the notes, then write major axis for shear is 2 2, and major axis for movement is actually what? Can you tell me? 3 3. Okay. So minor axis for the shear will be 3 3, and minor axis for the movement will be 2 2. Okay. So we are not discussing about the minor axis. We have to focus on major axis. So major axis for the shear will be 2 2. Major axis for the movement will be 3 3. You all understood? Now just come back to the tabs and now look at the question. See, we have to model this beam. So whether it is simply supported, cantilever, fixed, which type of beam is this? Good, cantilever. So can you tell me how many grids you have to take along the x-axis? Right, good. It should be what? First, second, third and fourth. And in y direction, it will be 1. Okay. Okay, first tell me whether it is in which plane it is. Either x and z plane or x and y plane. Which one? Exactly, it is a elevation view. This is a front view. So it is x and z plane. Good. So in y direction there will be nothing. So just go back to the tabs. Go to the file, new model. Say no. Now just say go with all basic settings. Now how many grids in x direction will be? How many? 1 2 3 4. Okay, just put it here as 4. Okay, now in y direction it will be 1. Now can you tell me what is the distance? This is 0.5, this is 0.7, this is 0.8. So this is the custom grid spacing. Go to grid, go to the second option, 0.5, 0.7, 0.5, 0.7, and this last 0.8. Is that okay? Hello? Let it be 1000. Just say okay. Text some dark value. Say okay. Okay. Now this is all done. So we don't bother about the stories. So let it be as it is. Okay, just say grids and say okay. So 4 levels actually given there. Just go to elevation. I just want to see the elevation along the grid first. So go to elevation along the grid first. Say apply. So 4 levels are there. So we actually don't need to look at the 4 levels. Wherever you want to model beam, you can use that level. So here I just want to model at the 4th story. Okay, so here I just want to model. So go to beam, just close it from this point to this point, then from this point to this point, then from this point to this point. So in this way we have modeled the beam. So this is done. Now select this joint. Here I have to assign the joint as a fixed joint. Is it visible? It is fixed joint or hinge joint? Yeah, exactly, it is fixed joint. So select this joint, go to assign, go to joint, go to restrain and put it as fixed joint. Say apply. Is it visible? So in this way you will be able to find the fixed joint in the elevation view. It is fixed. Now how much load we have to assign here? Exactly, it should be 0.3 kilonewton. Good, very good. Who is this? 0.3 kilonewton. It will be 0.5 kilonewton. 0.5 kilonewton. It will be 0.8 kilonewton. Is that okay? Hello? Yeah, good. Now just come back to the tabs. Here it should be assign joint load. Go to forces. In live load pattern it should be minus 0.3. Is it? Hello? Is it correct? Say apply. So minus 0.3. Now here it should be minus 0.5. Put 0.5. Say apply. Now it's also done. Now at the free end assign minus 0.8. Minus 0.8. Say apply. So this is done. 0.3, 0.5 and 0.8. All these kinds of loads we have assigned there. Is that okay? Now all the kinds of loads we have assigned there, all the supports we have assigned there. Now you can check whether your model is correct or wrong. So go to analyze, check your model, check all these errors and say okay. See, is there any error? No error is there, just close it. Now here we have to analyze your model. So analyze it. Just click on analysis. This will ask you to save. Let it be B1. Model name will be beam 1. So B1. Save. So this is a deformed shape. The animation of your deformed shape is like this. Just stop it. Now see, first what you would like to see, we want to see the movement in the member. So which axis, in which axis I have to see? See, in beam, would you like to see the axial force? Beam carry the axial force or not? Exactly, beam will not carry any axial force. So the two things is actually remaining, shear force and movement. So first we would like to see the movement. So which axis would you like to see for the movement? Good. Major axis is 3, 3. So to see that, go to display, go to force stress diagram, then frame pair forces. Then under the live load pattern, see axial force torsion. So both things we are not interested to see. Shear force along 2, 2, movement along 2, 2. So we are also not interested to see right now shear force. So the movement will be 3, 3. So major axis for the movement is 3, 3. Just now we have discussed. Say apply. So as you can see, the negative movement, very important. The negative movement will be represented by the ETABS software as by red color. Remember that negative, wherever you get the red color in the movement diagram, it means that whether it is positive or negative. If you are getting the red color, it means that it is what? It is negative. And negative means what? It is hogging movement. Negative, it is negative movement and it is hogging movement. We will discuss on this topic in very detail when we come to the detailing part of structure. Okay, so this is negative movement. Now see, we have to verify the result now. So see, first see the movement. What is the movement at the end? 2350 Newton meter. 23 in kilonewton, how much it will become? This is what? 2350 Newton meter. Sorry? Very good, very good. 2.35. Okay. Here it will be 1.55. Here will be 0.64. 0.64. And at the free end there will be 0. So just come back to the tabs and see how much it is. It is correct, 2.35. Now look at this. This 1.15, as you can see here, 1.15, 1.155. So it is also correct. Now come at this point, 0.64 it should be. So this is also 0.64. Just right click here. So this will give you well elaborated result. At this point you can find the moment. This is what? Minus 0.64. That is also given here. Minus 0.64. In Newton it will become 640 Newton. Newton meter. Got it? And at the free end, how much it is? At the free end it is 0. 0. Is that clear? So this is all about how you can verify the beam results. So to see the movement, we need to look at the axis 3. Now see, we just want to see the forces. See, you can also model this beam as a single element from start to end. See, can you tell me whether it is a part element or a single element is there? It is single beam or it is a part beam? What is there? Single beam. But see, in ETAS, what we have done there, we have modeled in part. That's why we are getting, when you are just clicking here, so this will give you result only for this part. No doubt both the methods are correct. You are getting the result correct, no doubt. But the another option is that what? You can model this single beam. So that how you can do that, I will show you tomorrow. Is that clear? Now here we have to see the shear force. To look at the shear force, which axis we need to follow? Go to display, go to force and stress diagram, frame support results, and to see the shear force we need the major axis is 2 so 2 say apply. So this is the shear force. Now see the question, this is 1600, so it will become 1.6 kilonewton. So look at this, right click here. So at this end the shear force is what? 1.6 kilonewton. So this is correct. Now at this end, if you look at this, how much it is? 600 minus 300, this will become 1300. So it will become 1.3 kilonewton. 1.3 kilonewton. So just come back to the tabs and see here. So how much it is? 1.3 kilonewton shear force. 1.3 kilonewton shear force. So this is also done. Okay. Now see here, 0.8 means 800 kilonewton. So just see here how much it is? 800. This is what? Actually this is 800. So the shear force is also matching with our ETABS result. Got it? You all understood? So this is all about today, how to analyze the beam and how to see the results. in the movement axis, in the shear axis. You all got it? Is there any question you can ask? So if you don't have any question, you can leave the meeting, and good night. We'll meet tomorrow.